Hello, I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man. My guest is Mark Heppell. Mark is a partner within JMW's corporate law department. Now, I know, Mark, you are doing a lot of employee ownership trust work at the moment. What is an employee ownership trust?
Hi, good to see you. Yeah, it's we've had plenty on actually in the last year, and actually I read an interesting stat that 1 in 20 private business sales now is the employee ownership trust route. So it's certainly something that's growing. An employee ownership trust is quite simply, it's a special trust corporation which is set up for the benefit of employees, and it's used as a vehicle to acquire a controlling interest in a company. So essentially it allows an owner of a business to sell their business to the employee ownership trust, i.e. a trust set up for the employees, and it gives the seller the exit and allows the employees essentially to become the owners in place of the previous individual shareholder or group of shareholders.
And so you mentioned that the employees sort of become the owners through the trust. What are the other advantages of this?
Well, there's one big advantage, which is certainly which is appealing to sellers, in that there's a huge tax incentive in that there's no capital gains tax treatment on the sale of the shares. So essentially, it's tax free. So it's a really good way of an exit for a seller and doing their succession planning. So they can sell all or a controlling interest of the business to the employees. So it avoids having to sell to a third party or a trade buyer and going through that whole process. And it's a good way of incentivizing maybe the next level of management, etc., to kind of stay in business. Obviously, it gives business stability, incentivizes the employees because they become the owners. Therefore, they're more vested in the business and willing to continue moving it forward. There are also tax incentives to the employees because they can each receive an annual tax-free bonus of up to £3,600. And again, I guess long term, when the exiting seller, because usually these things are paid on a different basis. So the seller, whilst they might exit, they may be getting paid off for a certain period of time by the business until their consideration has been paid. Once that's happened, essentially the employees become the full business owners. So it's a good way of an exit. It particularly, it maintains the culture and ethos of the business as well as those tax advantages. A lot of people do consider it when they may be concerned about a trade buy or a private equity and thinking, well, actually the business is going to change, might start making cuts, changing the culture, etc. So we've seen it quite a lot in that sort of family business sphere, where maybe the next generation are not interested in coming into the business, but the employees are almost treated as family, and I think, well, actually, a good way of having this succession is, rather than handing the business over to the family, is we'll consider the employee route where the employees take over from us.
And so for anybody watching this who thinks, well, actually, this sounds like the perfect exit for me, I'd like to get more information on this, what should they do?
Well, I think obviously get in touch. We'd be delighted to speak to them. We're members of the Employee Ownership Association. We do a lot of these, and we certainly like to champion them. We work with a lot of other advisors as well. This is particularly one of the situations where you really need to work with both your lawyers and your accountants to pull the structure together and get the appropriate clearances from HMRC. And I'd say have a conversation at an early stage as well, because there's a lot of thought and process going into this, not just on the legal side, but almost the making sure you're doing it for the right reasons, understanding how it's going to be delivered and sold to the employees, as it were, because ultimately these things don't work if the employees don't buy into it. So we suggest having those early conversations. I think, given our experience in this as well, we tend to put people in touch with some of our clients who might have already gone through the process, just to give people an understanding of exactly what it involves, how it works, and also their experiences of what's happened after employee ownership as well, because it's just making sure it's a seamless transaction. So really delighted to speak to anyone that's looking to do an employee ownership exit.
Mark, thank you very much for your insight. And if you'd like to get more information from Mark, you can email insideman@jmw.co.uk or call 0161 82 81 999. I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man.